Guys, welcome back to another episode of We Love Pets. Today in studio, we've got an awesome guest, Shawn Simons from the Kitty Bungalow, the Charm School for Wayward Cats located in Los Angeles, California. You do amazing rescue stuff, and we're glad to have you here in studio. So our show here, we'd like to just talk pets with you and kind of get a little bit to know you about you and your pet history. So let's get started, like how you got started in the pet world.
It was so by accident.
That's how most people kind of go with it.
I don't know. I mean, it was really by accident. I never had pets. I was allergic to cats, terrified of dogs. And my husband and I made this, decision, as husband and wives do, that we were not going to have pets, plants, or children. And that's the way things went. Then we bought a house, and on the house there were some feral cats. And they started dropping some babies and digging the rabbit's hole that I would soon fall down into. And that's really how it started for me.
So you are the headmistress at the Charm School. Tell us a little bit about what the Charm School is and what you do for the cat world.
Yeah, so Kitty Bungalow Charm School for Wayward Cats is 100% street cat rescue. We are the only 100% feral cat socialization facility in California. So we're rescuing directly from the street rather than what most rescues are doing is that they're pulling out from the shelters. And listen, all the work is good work. I'm not here to disparage any work at all. But for me, what I felt happening when I had this mama cat in my backyard dropping these babies, and listen, she was a hot mama cat. She is a chocolate point Siamese, like super hot, and she apparently would get down with anybody. She was dropping babies right and left. And so we were scooping up babies and then giving them away. And all of a sudden I had this feeling like I'm kind of a backyard Siamese breeder, like it wasn't my intention at all. And so I learned about TNR, which is trap, neuter, return. And that is the active participation in ending the overpopulation problem. So that's really where Kitty Bungalow started from. It started from these bones of doing TNR. I did my colony, then I did my neighbor's colony, and then someone from over across the street, they heard about me, I did them, and then someone at another block club, and I did about 125 in my local community.
Wow.
It was a lot, and I learned a lot at the time, but I think that that's really the foundation that Kitty Bungalow is built on. It's built on being active in the solution for ending the population problem. As I always say, it says cats can't carry condoms. It's not their fault.
They just don't have pockets.
They don't have pockets. They don't have pockets. We worked on little pants with pockets. They didn't like them. I don't think it was the condoms. I think it was actually the pocket. Yeah, absolutely.
Clearly the lack of pockets.
Totally. So yeah, and from that, then there were these kittens. And sad statistic. I don't throw a bunch of them out there because they're sad. But in Los Angeles, 76% of all animals killed in the shelter are kittens 8 weeks and under. So those are the fluffy little cutie fluffies, and no one thinks that that's going to happen. Yeah. Well, that's what's happening. And where are those fluffy little things coming from? They're coming from under bushes and cars behind restaurants. They're coming as ferals. Yeah. And oftentimes they're feral in that they're hissy and they're scratchy and they're, let's see if I got anything good on me right now, and they're bitey. And what we do in our facility, we take little street urchins and turn them into Ivy League lap cats. We have volunteers starting to come in at 8:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night. There's 5 different shifts and 80 different people a week, and that's really the secret sauce.
That's a lot of people.
It's working. A lot of people.
How many cats do you guys usually have at the rescue at a given time?
I would say it's between 30 and 40 tops.
Yeah, that's quite a bit to handle. We've been to a couple different rescues and a couple different locations where they're just cat dedicated, and we've seen the efforts that go into it. And I mean, dealing with ferals is a whole nother level of task that you have to take care of. So yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, in your opinion, what can the everyday person do to help folks like yourself and to help these feral cats?
So easy. Start with your own backyard. TNR, trap, neuter, return. Somewhere on your street, there are some cats that are just roaming around. If everyone would clean up their own backyard in the same way, if you just sweep up your own front yard, we'd have a beautiful place here. It is the greatest thing that anyone can do is stopping the overpopulation problem. That's a number one.
Okay.
So on a serious note,
because that was funny.
I was gonna say.
I was being sarcastic here. You talked about having allergies and not having cats, and I hear a lot of people actually start off having allergies to cats and still go the route of keeping cats.
Well, here's the thing: cat allergies, like it's kind of a little bit of a myth, really. So my first summer doing this full on, I was on an asthma inhaler. My allergies were really bad, but you acclimate towards the dander of your own cat. Now, I had Kitty Bungalow for 2 years and still didn't have a cat. I got my first cat 3 years into Kitty Bungalow. So, but what's happened to me is I've seen now over 1,000 cats, and I've had so much dander that I'm acclimating to that pretty much my allergies are gone. Whenever a new litter comes in, I'll get like a little sniffly and a little schnucky. But I'll tell you, it's a funny story. I went to visit friends of mine in New York, and I was staying with them, and they have a cat. And like on day 3, everything closed up. I couldn't breathe. My eyes are watery. They're like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's the cat. It's all right. It's the cat. You run a cat rescue. What do you mean it's the cat? But it's the new cat. So people can get over allergies of their own cat. It doesn't mean if they come to my house that they won't be allergic to my cat.
Okay.
The more exposure that they have, the easier it becomes to deal with the animals.
God, that's just putting yourself through torture on top of all the work.
I'm a saint. I don't know what to tell you.
You are definitely a saint. Not many people would take on what you've taken on, and even fewer people could do it the way that you do it, because you have some really special events that you've created to help not only raise awareness and educate, but also just bring the humanity back to this and say, look, we're all just trying to do our best. Let's talk about that.
Sure. I think we're a very progressive organization. We have very progressive views about cats and their lives and how to socialize. We have very progressive views about how to introduce cats to other cats. There are a lot of groups that don't dig the way we do it. And that's fine, because we're all trying to do something good. The problem is when they start like, there's no place for that, right?
When they start getting catty, you mean?
Yes. Yes. There's a place for everyone in this. So my background, I was an entertainment producer for a long time. And I'm also one of those people that when I see the big-bellied children in sub-Sahara Africa with little tears in their eyes, and they're asking me with really sad music, can I do something about it? I just freeze. I want to drop to the floor and go into the fetal position and cry about just the overwhelming need and lack of humanity. That's not to say that I'm not a giving person, because I gave up my life to create this organization, but that doesn't reach me. I just shut down. And I think there are a lot of rescues that are reaching those people. And there are a lot of people that, the sad stories, boom, they're out with the checkbook. I mean, that's what they want to hear. For me, I wanted to reach people who I felt weren't being reached. Not because they were selfish or hated animals, but that they were overwhelmed by the sadness of it. So we really wanted to create a happy place and make the experience really uplifting and happy. And I don't want anyone to say, oh, but what about that one? What if I don't take that one? I'm just so sad. That one's going to be gone in 5 minutes. Don't worry about it. So our branding, our marketing is very upbeat, and I brought in my entertainment past, and the very first year, so we were an organization for about 4.5 seconds, and I figured, well, how do we raise money? Well, the only way I know how to raise money is to put on a show. So we put on this giant Broadway-style show called Cats for Cats. It was a reinterpretation of the musical Cats as told by T.S. Eliot's point of view. And we had a bunch of celebrities who did the show. And we now have a different incarnation of the show. We do a cat beret show, and we've been doing this now for 5 years, and we get, a dozen or so great celebrities who sing and dance and laugh all about cats.
Well, I think one of the other differences, too, though, is the celebrities that you get, they really believe in the cause. They're not just lending their name. They're committed to it, and you see them doing other things in support of it, and it's great. And these are big name folks too. This isn't just okay, let me do something nice and get some pub. This is, I'm here, and they're year after year.
Yeah, we have a lot that come back every year. It's a good show. It's a really, I have to say, it's a really big show. People are surprised at the depth of the show. We have the So You Think You Can Dance dancers every year. I mean, we have like incredible dance numbers. We have a full band. And we have celebrities that come back year after year. I mean, there are a lot of animal-loving celebrities. More of them are dog folk.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You get a lot more dog folk in the celebrity world. So, like, who's the big celebrity cat in the cat world that you kind of were surprised? Oh, you're not a dog person. You're a cat person.
Well, there are a few that really like cats. Wendy McClendon Covey from the Goldbergs, huge cat person. Elaine Hendricks, who is like my goddess, and she swings both ways.
She's bipedal.
She is, and she's proud of it. Fred Willard. Fred and Mary Willard have cats, and Trisha Helfer, huge cat lover. Nicole Sullivan from Mad TV, super funny cat person. Ian Somerhalder, call me. Huge cat lover. But I think that, also part of what we want to do is that there's no reason we got to fight,
Right.
So it's like, if you love animals, we're all for it. And that if you're in animal rescue, I think it's important to look at what's important now. There's an issue in Los Angeles that it's a dog issue, but I'm making some noise about it, and hopefully getting the dog folk to get behind it. With these dangerous dog hearings in Los Angeles, the ones that I've seen, they are neighbors hating neighbors and using the animals as pawns, and it is disgusting. And the city has a neighbor-to-neighbor dispute system, and I'm trying to get the city council to go back and to put new policy that if they find that there's a history of neighbor disputes, that the dog
is out.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
he
in a
gets
pond.
free.
He's a free
exactly.
Yeah, and then the neighbors need to go hash it out one-on-one. It's a dog issue. I mean, there was a time when the pit bulls were really, really hurting, and everyone came together, and now like everybody has a pit bull. Right now, it's cats, man. I mean, cats are dying.
Yeah.
Cats are being slaughtered, and a lot of it has to do with the way that they reproduce. You don't have packs of wild dogs. And most countries, that's where they go first, because if you have tourism and you have packs of wild dogs, it's not great for tourism.
Right.
So they take care of that. Packs of wild cats, they're hiding from you under the bushes.
Right.
They're not going to come at you. But we have to come together and take care of this problem, because we just have to stop killing.
I mean, there's a lot of education that needs to go into both dog and cat side of the rescue world, and I mean to do things to better everybody across the board. And I mean that's what we're trying to do with bringing people like you on and sharing your stories and helping people be aware of the problems that are out there. Because yeah, it's cute to say, oh, I rescued a dog from a shelter or something, but that's not the end of it. There's so much more that goes into rescuing that dog, and the hardest part is going to the rescues and only rescuing one. That's always the hard part, is coming out like I want to do so much more. And the smarter thing for me, instead of taking in and becoming a hoarder of pets,
volunteer.
Volunteer, spread the message, do the education. Like that's why we do stuff like this on Pet World Insider, is so that people can get that information and we can just grow a bit every time. So I mean,
well, don't you feel that that's what's happening now? Folks are really raising their level of awareness and saying, okay, there's something I can do. Whereas before they just go, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the money. I think one of the things that I hear now more so is to get the volunteers. And you have a remarkable group to be able to do what you do.
We have a very big group, but I'll tell you, to be honest, our largest contingency of volunteers are our teachers. They're our cat cuddlers.
Okay.
They get to work with the kittens and the cats. The hard work, the real work, is in the TNR, and we struggle all the time to get volunteers for that. And without that, we can't do what we're doing. And how to make that palatable, how to make that fun, because it's certainly worthy. I mean, it is ground zero for everything. Sure. So we definitely struggle with that in the same way that we struggle with, people come in, my favorite adoptions are the one that, like, I want the cat to pick me, right? And then they sit in the room with, like, the youngest, most adorable kittens, and, oh, this one picked me, and you're like, oh my God, that one's a whore. That one picks everybody. Are you serious? Like, we've had that one since it was 3 years old. I can put that one in my mouth. Like, that's, it's this, that I think part of our marketing too, because, we're very hip, we're very cool. We've got this whole, like, cool thing happening. We get a lot of young folk, like people that are getting their first animal as their adult, and they think really hard about it. But we don't get a lot of diehard rescuers. Like, we don't get a lot of diehard people coming in going, give me your worst. Who really needs me? And I would love some of those. I mean, because when we take in mama and kittens, it's like kitten gone, and mama, what, mama?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell your mama what you did. I mean, you left this mama behind, this beautiful, lovely, sweet, So it's there's still a struggle, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that makes a lot of sense. It's the same thing. I mean, we've done stuff with the bunny rescues and equine and all. There's still much more need than there is folks available, funds available, time available to do it. But it is improving. It's improving because of folks like you and your efforts. And I guess, one of the things that I also want to ask you is, from the angle of being someone who's, kind of fallen into it to now, who's a leading expert in it, where beyond TNR do we have to get to really start to turn the corner? Because everybody talks about, well, we're going to, try and turn the corner. What is turning the corner in the cat world?
It is TNR. It really is TNR. And it really the shelter release program. So most every city that is no kill have a shelter release program. So that's basically feral cats that come in that get fixed. They've been brought into the shelter, and rescue groups take them back to where they were living because they're unadoptable. Right? So we're just bringing them in to hold them for a couple days before we kill them. Like, what's the point? They were doing fine out there. Right. We don't want them reproducing.
Sure.
And there's a fight. There's a silly fight. It's like a Donald Trump, Ted Cruz like fight with bird people and cat people, where it seems to me so outrageous. I can't even believe that people haven't called meow, meow, meow stuff to it, because it's a load of crap.
Okay.
These cities that are no-kill, that do TNR, well, then I guess they have no birds. Right? Well, I've called up San Antonio, Texas, which actually is no-kill. And I'm like, hey, you got any birds out there?
Right.
'Cause I'm wondering, you guys have been no-kill for a while, so I'm sure like all your birds are gone. They've put this new idea out there as if like the cats just got here, right? Like they just came off a ship and they're just out there stalking the birds. It is not true. And this is, again, I'm progressive, and I'll have some cat groups that will say, "Did she just say that?" I believe there's some places to compromise. Absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, if there are some areas where there are, some delicate bird species, the cat shouldn't be around there. Absolutely, move them out.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not just.
It's not just black and white. There's that
Yes.
gray in the middle that we have to kind of work around and make adjustments. And that's, I think, part of the learning process is like, we're going to do everything we can, but as we do those things, we have to kind of make those adjustments as they come along. There's no perfect answer for it. And that's the best we can do is what we're doing right now.
Well, and both sides have to come to the table, because the thing that's so crazy, right, is like they want less cats outside. What do we want? Less cats outside. Oh my God!
Yeah.
We should get together and get
Right.
married. I mean, like it's exactly the same. Although what a lot of bird people won't say is what they really want is they want no cats outside.
Yeah.
But I just want to send them all a copy of the Pied Piper and have them read it and then get back to me. I mean,
Right.
there's a reason that the cats are there.
Sure.
We have a new program. We have a working cat program where we're taking 150 death row feral cats from the city shelter in Los Angeles. So they're on their way out. They're unadoptable, and we're putting them in working cat situations as mousers. So we now have them in a number of breweries and some equine centers because they provide
Sure.
a
Well,
service.
one of the biggest mountains
Yeah.
is Disneyland.
Disneyland,
That's
exactly.
exactly where I went. One of the
Totally.
biggest. Like,
Yeah.
They have a squad of cats that they let
a
loose.
famous squad of
Yeah,
cats.
very
famous,
famous.
yeah.
That's a big thing that goes on.
Yeah.
People don't realize that there's these cats running around doing a service for everybody. So
Yeah.
Well, I think they also don't realize, and it's something we've talked about, that cats are trainable.
Yeah.
And they're very intelligent.
Yeah.
So, they're suited for doing more than we give them credit and opportunity
so much more.
for. Yeah.
So much more.
Right.
wanna hit the bowl?
Let's hit the dog bowl
let's
question.
hit the bowl.
Excuse me that it's a dog bowl,
That's all right.
but
Could be a cat bowl.
it could be a cat, but it's got dog bones on it. But so the guests, you get to pick one of those questions, and we're gonna
Oh,
see
not that question.
what we think about it.
I hope someone else reads it because I don't have my
Oh,
glasses
okay.
on.
So what got you started in the pet industry?
I think we did
I-
that one.
we kinda-
you
we
know what? I
kinda
want to
covered
flip the
that.
question.
Okay.
And please send in more great questions and
Yeah.
a few more cat ones too. But how does the pet industry?
How do I get out of the
survive-
pet industry?
How do I get out of the pet industry? I
Can
can't.
you answer that?
Yes, please. Someone save me from that. No, but how does the industry respond to you? How are they helping you? What more could they be doing? Because, we've seen that with our fish folks where literally taking so much out of the wild was going to harm the industry, and the industry finally had to step up to the plate and say, okay, there are some changes like you were just referencing that we're going to have to not just agree to, but we're going to have to come proactive in to
Right.
make sure that it's sustainable for a long time. Are there are there folks in the industry stepping up and saying to you and the Kitty Bungalow, you know what, here's some things we can be doing and we should have been doing all along, but now we're here to help? And if not, what would you say to them?
Well, yes. I mean, I think I go back to TNR because that is just the answer. And you get some you'll read some articles that say TNR doesn't work. I'll say that. Okay, TNR doesn't work. It's trapping, neutering, and releasing. Now, I am not a scientist, but if I had a science fair project, I would take a box of 2 unfixed cats and a box of 2 fixed cats, and then I'd come back 8 months later and I'd open up both boxes And I'd go, look, TNR worked. Because what TNR is supposed to do is have them to stop having babies. That works. So I think so much of what I think needs to start happening is we got to start fighting back. We have to. There are so many people that don't know that this issue is going on. In the city of Los Angeles, there is an injunction going on 6 years that the city can't talk about, can't educate, can't refer, can't fund TNR. And it has to do with this loophole that happened, and we're still trying to push forward in this and move this ahead. But I think that I think we have to change, the face of ferals. People hear feral cat and they go, Big Tom. It's not. It's the little. It's the this. Yeah. That's the feral cat. That's the one that's getting hurt the most.
Right.
If that were the face of feral cats, would people get more involved? Would people then want to save those tiny little things? And could we make some more noise? But I feel like in Los Angeles, where we are, I don't feel that all of the cat groups even know about the TNR injunction. I know all the dog groups don't know about it.
Sure.
And if they don't know about it, I know for certain the cat lovers don't know about it. And if they don't know about it, then Mr. and Mrs. Smith across the street don't know about it. And I'll tell you, if you ask Mr. and Mrs. Smith if they're okay with us just killing cats, they're going to, for the most part, they're going to be like, no, I don't like that.
Our alternative?
TNR. And that's the thing. The other side has not brought an alternative. I mean, they're going to bring Blackwater in. I mean, I can't, you have willing people out there right now to make this happen.
Yeah.
And those people should be supported. And let's put more of them out there on the street and attack this and get this under control instead of having to be fighting about the one thing that can make things better.
Is there resources online for people who want to learn more about TNR and
let's make sure we give out your information.
Yes. You can find us on the web at kittybungalow.org. You can also find us on our Facebook page, which is Kitty Bungalow Charm School, and on Twitter we're just plain old Kitty Bungalow. And so we're in the Los Angeles area, although I've answered questions from all over the place and can hook folk up. I think nationally, one place that I would start would be Alley Cat Allies. I mean, they started this thing. Becky Robinson is, she kind of was the founder of the TNR movement in the States. And they do have a directory of different places across the country that you can go. And if you don't have a place that does TNR in your area, talk to your friendly local vet. Get something worked out. It can be done. It can be done.
So, guys, I think we're coming to the end of this episode. But the big thing I think to take away from this is TNR, trap, neuter, release. Return. Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, that's a big thing. If you guys want to learn more, Google it or go to the links we're going to provide to it. But thank you guys so much for joining us. If you guys want to submit a question to the Dog Bowl, you can reach out to #PetWorldInsider on Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. You can reach out to me at producer Derek. Also, if you guys have questions you want to ask our guests that come on, and can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. Thank you,
Shawn, for everything you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.